Hey, Successors, before we get into the show today, I'd like to tell you about my new book, Indulge Your Affirmative Motivation Within, 25 Motivations of Personal Development and Life Success. If you're struggling to stay motivated or just need a little boost, check out the ways that I've stayed motivated over the last few years. Go ahead and go over to Amazon.com and grab yourself a copy. That's Indulge Your Affirmative Motivation Within, 25 Motivations of Personal Development and Life Success. Get it now. On with the show.
Success. Media. Network.
This is your show.
Good day, Successors. I'm Antonio Holman, and welcome to the 4 Principles of Success number 43, where I chat with successful people and entrepreneurs about how they enhance their businesses and lives in the areas of knowledge, health, wealth, and spirituality. Today, we're talking to Dan Moyle. Dan is located in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and is the CMO of Interview Valet and is the inbound evangelist who promotes helpful, engaging marketing over interruptive advertising. Coming to marketing from the TV news business, Dan brings a wealth of knowledge from writing to video production to multimedia content creation. He says, I'd rather help someone reach 50 ideal customers rather than 5,000 passive viewers. A believer in servant leadership, Dan can be found behind the scenes at work with organizations like Talons Out Honor Flight, lifting others up with service and a strong work ethic. Dan, are you ready to help our listeners prepare for success?
I am, Antonio. I'm excited.
All right, great. Glad to have you here, Dan. And you're a busy guy, but we know nothing about what you do in your personal life just to pass the time and be Dan. What's that all about?
Oh, man. Pass the time. I've got 2 daughters, 3 cats, 2 kittens now. This week, we brought 2 kittens into our house, so that's keeping me busy. But, I'm a blended family dad. So for my wife and I, it's a second family for both of us. So I have a daughter and a stepdaughter. Love my family, love spending time with them and doing things with them. But when I want to go do something for me, it's motorcycles. I've got a Harley, and I love to ride.
Love riding motorcycles. I hate that they're so loud when they're right by me driving past my car.
Right. Mine's just loud enough that you know I'm there, but it's not so loud that you can't hear your own music. So.
Oh, yeah, that's good. All right, so you're at Interview Valet, which we had founder Tom Schwab on the show, which was episode number 5. Tom was a riot, and he talked about his Guinness record attempt, which is pretty cool, actually. I don't know who's ever going to break that record.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to get right into it. Okay, marketing. That is where we're headed right now.
Yeah.
The lovely, mysterious world of marketing that no one fully understands.
That's right.
What's the difference between helpful marketing versus sexy marketing, and why do you prefer helpful over sexy?
You know, that whole sexy versus helpful thing started back when I was asked to speak at a conference about inbound marketing. And they said, and I should have taken offense, I suppose, but I kind of wear it with a badge of pride now. They said, you know, we want you to talk to folks about how to do great inbound marketing in a boring industry. And I thought, man, I'm boring? Because at the time I was working for a mortgage company. So I suppose mortgages are very boring. But, you know, so my thought there was like, okay, I wasn't a marketer for Budweiser beer or a great craft beer or, Alfa Romero cars or Harley Davidson, right? I'm a marketer for a mortgage company. So I'm not going to make, sexy advertising. I'm not going to have a commercial where, all the, supermodels and buff surfers and everybody are drinking my product, right? So for me, it was cutting through the noise of all that junk that's out there and creating helpful content to educate home buyers and to inspire them to want to own a home, because at the end of the day, at the mortgage company, it wasn't necessarily about the mortgage, who wants to pay their bills, right? But you want a house. And so it was really about being helpful. And helpful marketing to me is just creating the educational content that people can understand, and whether they read it or watch it or listen to it, they get it, right? And so I took my inspiration from people like Marcus Sheridan and David Meerman Scott and do what you answer the questions that people are asking, and you do it through that content, and you do it in a helpful way. And that way you don't have to be the next viral sensation or the next craft beer or whatever. You can spread the word of your business through helping others.
Yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of people tend to miss is you're not selling the product, you're selling the feeling after the customer receives the product.
Yeah.
Let's talk about targeted web traffic, okay?
Yeah.
Targeted web traffic through inbound marketing. What is it, and how does it actually change your business?
Inbound marketing is this new thing, but it's not necessarily new, but it's that it's called inbound because people come into you rather than you trying to get in front of them and stop their day, right? And so you attract viewers to your website or to your social media or whatever. You convert them from viewers or listeners or readers into leads, and then you convert those leads into buying happy customers, and you delight them so much that they become evangelists for you. And so it's this whole methodology and strategy of bringing them into you and taking care of them rather than just trying to stop them and change their mind, right? And so inbound is definitely digital. It's definitely content driven, and it really helps you, bring warm leads to you. So what I like to tell people is like, okay, any industry can be boring. To get back to that analogy, and every industry is boring if you don't want what's there, right? If you're not looking for a mortgage, it's boring. If you're not looking for a brand new car, it's boring to talk about cars. If you're, so what you want to remember is you're going to get that targeted web traffic from the people that are interested. And if you are there to answer their questions, that web traffic is huge, because if you're not there, your competitor is. And so that targeted web traffic comes from things like search engine results. When people do think about, okay, how am I going to blah, 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 and you help solve that problem, that's going to be great web traffic because you're answering their question and you start to build that trust. That targeted traffic through inbound comes from social media. And certainly it's not always free, and it's not always non-interruptive. Inbound can be a little bit of advertising focused. I've used social ads, social media ads like Facebook to draw people to us for different things. So, that stuff can be certainly paid.
Now, we all know what social media marketing is. Well, at least we think we know what it is. Yeah. But what is social media marketing for the real person?
It's any marketing really. I feel like is the start of a conversation that leads to a relationship and leads to a transaction. And so while we don't want to see everybody as just a transaction, we see them as relationships. Any marketing is the start of that, right? And the evolution of that relationship. And so you just take that and turn it to social media. So it's anytime you start to engage with people that could become leads to you and hopefully customers, that's social media marketing. So it could be as simple as, my wife does a home business with essential oils, and it could be as simple as her sharing a story about how she used oils to do something different in our lives and get rid of, toxic cleaners or whatever, right? And that could be a marketing thing. It's engaging with people and having a conversation, right? You offer a little bit of content, you offer some ideas, they ask you what it is, you have that conversation, and it's done through things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, but it can also then be really fun stuff. I love the idea of using Instagram for businesses that have a visual component to it. There's a lot of local car dealers out there trying it, I think, and from what I've seen, and they do really cool stuff when it comes to sharing the stories of car buyers that are very excited about their purchase, right? Mm-hmm. And so, that Instagram photo can be just amazing.
Yeah, it's a matter of focusing on the lifestyle and not the product.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
The new craze seems to be the live video marketing through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Now Twitter's doing it. A lot of people are still straying away from it because it seems to be kind of like some weird voodoo marketing or something. What are your opinions of video marketing?
I'm a big fan of video marketing. Coming from TV, I love the idea of visual marketing, moving pictures, right? And in any kind of television, YouTube, movie, anything like that. So I'm a big proponent of video marketing. I'm very intrigued by the whole live video aspect of it. And it can be something as simple as just having a live Facebook feed of an event that you're hosting to bring viewers in and make them feel a part of it. I think it's really cool. Or just one person getting on video with an interview and saying, hey, here's our Facebook Live and here's what we're talking about. What do you think? And engage with people online, because as as people see it and comment, you can answer their questions, you can tell them thank you or whatever it is, and it develops a broader base of an audience for you than you could with just a simple video that's pre-recorded, which I think is awesome. When I joined AmeriFirst, from the TV world, the mortgage company that I talked about earlier, my first move was to buy some video equipment, a pretty simple camera, a decent microphone, and a tripod. I borrowed a lighting kit, didn't really need it even, and wanted to just tell stories through video. I think it's such an intimate connection, much like podcasting. Your audience, Antonio, loves what you do, and they hear you in their head and their earbuds, and it's that great connection, right? Same thing with video. It's that face-to-face connection, and we love that. So I'm a big proponent of video marketing in general, and like you said, the whole voodoo of live video I think is fascinating, and we're definitely trying it at Interview Valet. Tom is very good at doing Facebook Lives and just offering basically thoughts from the CEO, which is awesome. People love that.
I have yet to catch one of his Facebook Lives. I need to do that. I didn't even know it was going on. I'm sure it's a riot.
It's pretty good, yeah. My favorite is when he's out at like this one this week. He was at the local high school football field and talking about preparing and being a team and this stuff. And it's just interesting to see the CEO of a company in front of a local high school football field. It's not even a stadium. It'd be a stadium if it was in Texas or somewhere where football is life. But for us up here in Michigan, it was a nice little football field. And yeah, he's a genius. Love working with this guy. And his Facebook Lives are pretty awesome.
On to the world of podcast interview marketing.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like podcast marketing is the new marketing revolution? Is it the new holy grail of marketing, period?
I think for the right folks, it certainly can be. At Interview Valet, we work with inspiring thought leaders, is what we say. Now, as grand as that sound and generic as that sounds, really what we do is we focus on working with, speakers and authors and coaches and entrepreneurs and folks who have a message that they want to get out in front of a new audience. And as much as I love doing, social media and having video and stuff, it becomes such a noisy atmosphere, a noisy landscape that instead of trying to shout above the noise, become part of the conversation. And you've got, great podcasts like the 4 Principles of Success. And you've got great hosts like you, Antonio, who have these amazing conversations with thought leaders, and me, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
But you have people on your show and you have these great conversations, and instead of trying to buy new Facebook ads, you go on and tell your story and engage those listeners, and then you just say, hey, look, go back to my website here, and like for your listeners, we'll talk about it. There's a page where I've got some content for them to go and download. They want to read a little bit more about finding a marketer that can do this stuff. There's an excerpt of my book there, but it's a way to have that conversation and just draw people in. Podcast interview marketing is just so much fun. I love it.
So that's the thing. That was actually my next question, was a matter of podcasting. The backbone of podcasting is storytelling. And I mean, the world of podcasting is growing so quickly and it's getting extremely noisy, but the struggle to get your story heard amongst everyone else, what is the key? Is the key just interaction like you just stated?
I think the key is I don't know, as goofy as this sounds come out of my mouth, it's authenticity. It's, instead of making a podcast interview about the product only, again, back to kind of that marketing, right? Mm-hmm. People remember how you make them feel. Instead of making it an infomercial, we just have a conversation, and I talk about my story and how I went from the newsroom into the mortgage business and boring marketing, and what do you do to thrive in that world, and now podcast interview marketing and why that's exciting. And that whole story becomes something that people engage with and they enjoy listening to, hopefully. And then from there, it's just a matter of having them connect with you deeper, right? And I think that podcast interviews really, I liken it to listening to two friends talk in a coffee shop, and you're sitting behind them and you're listening and you're thinking, man, that's a great conversation. Only you and I, Antonio, are not just doing it without somebody listening. We want them to listen. So it's like, right. Yeah, listen into the conversation. Join us. And yeah, I just think that's so powerful, Yeah,
humans are odd creatures to the point to where we we don't think anybody gets it. We don't think anybody feels like we do. But once we hear somebody actually say it, we go, oh, yeah, there's actually people that exist. And it's like, it's so funny how that, for some reason, that specific thing has to be beat into our heads multiple times over years. And we're not the only ones walking around with those same thoughts in our minds. We have other people who are part of our community, also. So, yeah, that's one huge reason why I really love podcasting. I love listening to them. I listen to them probably way too much. But, you feel a connection with the hosts and the subject matter, Yeah. Everybody's just like me, too, somehow, in some way, somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We love that connection, right? And I think that's why storytelling's so powerful, is that we love that connection. Somebody's like me, or they had a similar struggle, or I really, that story resonated with me because my dad was that way, or, whatever it is. We've been telling stories since the dawn of time. And so now just being able to do it in a new medium and in a new way is really powerful. Yeah.
And I always feel that podcasting is actually more powerful than video, because when you just have audio, you can take it anywhere. You can drive and listen, you can be anywhere and listen to it. You don't have to watch the video. So I always feel like podcasting is more powerful.
Yeah. And it makes you be more imaginative, right? Instead of us showing everybody everything, maybe, as a listener, I sit there and I listen and I picture it myself. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, apparently you have a way of marketing that actually makes mortgages interesting. What is that?
I think it just goes back to the stories, right? To the making people feel a certain way. I would get email after email from folks that would download our e-guides, our digital guides, or they'd watch a video or whatever it was, and they'd say, I really feel like I trust you. Will you tell me everything about this? And I'm like, listen, I'm the marketing guy. I don't know enough about mortgages to help you, but I'm going to find somebody. But they trust you, and they remember how to make you, they remember how you made them feel. And being able to go out of this super boring industry of mortgages. I mean, are you kidding me? Interest rates and payments and escrow and blah, blah, blah. And talk about what it feels like to own a home, and talk about, just easing their fears. I mean, you think about a first-time home buyer, you have no idea where to start. I mean, even if you bought a home 20 years ago, you have no idea where to start now, right? The news media, not to jump on that bandwagon, but the news media wants to scare the pants off of us in order to watch more. So they talk about the crashing housing market. They talk about terrible banks. They talk about all these things, and you think, man, I don't want to get in. I don't want to buy a house. But in reality, having your own home has such a feeling attached to it. So being able to do marketing in an industry that is considered maybe a little bit sleazy and definitely boring, and yet I created great content with my team. I wrote some ebooks, made some videos with some amazing people, had a great time, really loved what I did, and helped home buyers really feel at ease and work with a company that's a great company. And what was cool is, in an industry that is so relationship based, the internet was this thing of leads from the website are terrible. We can't do this. We're going to bring you in and see if it works, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. And it did. And in an industry where website leads were considered junk, we ended up in 2016, driving $75 million in closed loans from the website. That was an extra month's worth of revenue to the company. So I was real proud of that last number that we had there. So and we did it through inbound and content marketing, and it was just a really fun time.
Did you get pushback when you were trying to implement the feel of stories with mortgages?
Fortunately, I did not. They actually kind of wooed me to come to the company. So they knew what they were getting. They wanted somebody who could write articles and blogs and tell stories and this kind of stuff. I mean, I would start to get pushback a little bit when I wanted to do big things, almost like a documentary film or something where it would cost, $100,000. We weren't that big. So, but no, I mean, stories in general, they really understood the value of that and really worked well with me for a long time on that. And I'm so grateful for it. Like I said, I came from the newsroom, and I wasn't this big marketing MBA professional, long history of anything. They believed in the strategy and the tactics that I was going to use, and in me, and it was a really great tenure for me.
Okay, so we're gonna swing this vehicle in a different direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So life's a giant roller coaster of ups and downs, and nothing ever stays great and beautiful. Throughout your journey, what do you feel was that time when you felt most unsuccessful in your life?
Most unsuccessful in my life. I think it was back when I was in the newsroom at a TV station, and I really wanted. I could see into the future, I guess. I don't know. I could see the writing on the wall of different ways of getting information to folks. And, I went to my boss with different ideas, like being on Twitter, and I got in trouble. You can't tweet during your shift. Or, I want to change the news hour. What if instead of 4 blocks of news, what if we had 3, right? And what if we only had commercials here and here and these kinds of things? Or what if we sponsored the weather rather than do it? So I went with all these ideas, and I just kept getting no's because that's not how we do it. We don't do it that way, right? And so it was hard sometimes to really feel like I was going to be able to make a difference in that world. And that was where I began to kind of lose my passion for storytelling in the news industry. And that's where I started to look at marketing as a place to go. And in conjunction with that, I started to look at big companies like Kellogg out of Battle Creek, Michigan, that does, Tony the Tiger and cereal and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Stryker Medical that does some great implants and hospital beds and other medical equipment. And I went to them thinking, okay, I've got, almost 10 years experience in news. I know how to tell stories. They're gonna want me. And none of them even wanted the time of day with me. Oh. So yeah, so it was hard, man. There was probably a year period there where I just thought, man, I sound like Eeyore. Nobody wants me.
Right. Right. Wow.
So yeah, that was hard.
What do you feel was the one hardest thing in your business to overcome that you've since conquered?
I think, I've had a couple different kind of businesses that I've been a part of. And I never thought that I'd be an entrepreneurial type person, but now that I'm working with Tom at Interview Valet, I really do feel like an entrepreneur. And I think the biggest thing to overcome for us has been getting people to know us and trust us and not see us as, just another service, right? You can, for us with podcast interview marketing, you can certainly find a booking agency or do it yourself or find a virtual assistant that can just go out and email a ton of podcast hosts and hopefully one will say yes. And it's hard to kind of change that idea of making it simple, right? We do more, we go above and beyond that. And so to break through that kind of noise is definitely a challenge. But I went through that too with the mortgage company. I mean, again, it's to set yourself apart and differentiate yourself can be very difficult. And so when you think about other mortgage companies that have taken advantage of homeowners or foreclosed on grandma or whatever, to battle that negative news is really difficult. So, I think in any business that I've been in, staying positive amidst the negativity or that kind of pushing you down can be difficult. But you just got to keep going and know that you're doing the right thing and stay positive. And for me, it's a faith thing. I go back to my faith and I'm just trusting that everything's going to work out.
Mm-hmm. What was your most challenging client-related situation, and how did you resolve it?
My most difficult client situation, I'll have to say, I looked at myself as an agency within the mortgage company because our mortgage consultants were kind of like my clients. So I'll go back to that and say that my most difficult client interaction was with one of our mortgage consultants who we had shot a video for him, and he didn't like what we edited and wanted the footage, and he was just going to find somebody else. And it was that moment of pride of, no, we shot this, we did this, we're going to do it for you. You just have to work with us and tell us what you don't like about it. We'll make it happen, whatever. And we went back and forth, and it got heated. But at the end of the day, it was like, well, I don't actually own this company. I work for this company, and this is somebody else who works for us and wants it. And we had to just resolve it and put it behind us and move forward. And that mortgage consultant got the footage and hopefully made a nice video out of it. I never saw anything, but I just kind of said, you know what, it's going to have to be this way, and that's fine. You got to kind of swallow your pride sometimes, and work well with others.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you ever saw the finished product of the other company.
No, I never did. I don't know if they ever used it or not. It's hard as an artist. It's hard to take something that somebody else has done. So as an editor, to take what somebody else has filmed or recorded and use it in some way, you have no idea why did you make that shot that way? Why didn't you zoom this way? So I don't know if they ever even used it, but we tried.
What one thing in your business are you currently struggling to overcome?
I think it's the idea, kind of going back to breaking through the noise, right? Differentiating ourselves. We think that we have the best service out there for it. And I think our clients do. In fact, I think a lot of our podcast hosts that we work with do. But, it's breaking through that perception of, well, I can do it myself. Sure, you can. And here's some materials that you can help do it yourself with. But at the end of the day, if you really want it done well and done without that much effort on your end, we're the people to do it for you. And just getting folks to kind of hear that and understand it, I think is always the challenge. And so that's probably going to be a challenge forever. Convincing people that, look, you as our client, you're the Frank Sinatra. And Frank Sinatra didn't set up his own microphones. Frank Sinatra didn't book his own gigs. Frank Sinatra didn't, negotiate his contracts. Everybody else did that, right? The roadies set things up. His manager did stuff. You be the talent. You be the Sinatra. We'll be everything else. And so we like to tell that story, and hopefully it helps. But I think that's probably the biggest challenge is changing or not changing, but getting them to see that other side of that perception of, well, you're just an agency. You're just a booker. I can find that for, cheaper or whatever and easier. And it's like, well, I don't think so. So that's probably our biggest challenge. Mm-hmm. And me as the marketing, the CMO, that's definitely something that I have to kind of wrangle in. So
what do you feel is the one biggest triumph to date?
Boy, I tell you what, we were at Podcast Movement recently in Anaheim, California.
Which I missed, but I'm trying to make it next year. Yes.
Well, next year's in Philadelphia, so it's a little closer to you in St. Louis. So we'll be there again. So come see us. Awesome. Yeah, we were there, and we launched something called the State of Podcast Interviews report. We sent out a survey to over 10,000 people, got a ton of responses back, and put together this report on a state of the industry. And one of the big inspirations from it was from Social Media Examiner, Michael Stelzner. And, they do a state of the industry when it comes to social media and stuff. And so he was a big inspiration for that, and some others as well. But he was one that Tom really took the inspiration from. And so I wanted to meet Mike. And I saw him walk by me. And of course, in a split second, I thought, okay, do I say hi? Do I not? He's busy. I don't know. Should I? Well, I did. I turned around. Hey, Michael. Introduced myself. And he recognized the name, knew who I was, wanted to talk to me. So we talked about the State of the Industry report, thanked me for the being his inspiration, this kind of thing. And then he turned around and asked us to partner with him to do a second survey about how podcasts and podcast hosts, how they monetize. And so for Social Media Examiner and for Michael Stelzner to know who we were and to know who I was and to be proud of what the work we had done and want to work with us was a huge, huge win for me, both personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say that I was featured briefly in that report. So thank you guys for that. Really appreciate
Absolutely. It. Yeah, man. Thanks for the quote. We love it.
That was awesome. What do you feel is your one biggest personal triumph to date?
My biggest personal triumph to date. I'm a family guy. At the end of the day, my family is what matters to me most. And you can go through the highs and the lows of life. And, I went through a divorce, years and years ago, and was fortunate enough to find somebody to partner with and marry as my second marriage, and a great family. And for my family to be as good as we are in a blended family situation, that can be very, very difficult. You've got, exes, and you've got schedules, and you've got personalities, and you hear the horror stories of, well, you're not my dad and I hate you and this kind of stuff or whatever. And I think that what my wife and I have done is through, our faith, through prayer, through trusting in God, this kind of thing, and just raising our kids with great integrity and morals. My family's pretty darn good, and that's my biggest personal triumph, is that we have been an inspiration for other folks that have told us, man, you guys do blended family stuff right. Well done. And that's a big deal to me.
All right, hang tight, successors. We'll return to our conversation with Dan Moyle as well as quick success after a word from our sponsors. Podcasters, want more listeners? Check out promosharecast.com and join the community today. That's promosharecast.com. Join today and get the first month free, and you'll also receive 50% off for a lifetime membership. Sign up today. promosharecast.com. Are you a tense, tired, busy person who works day in and day out, who tends to lack the proper sleep and energy? Using modular supplements, health-related articles, recipes, life hacks, and more, Bellison can help. With quality as high as Bellison, you're buying from a company that cares about the environment and only uses premium vegan supplements. That's Bellison.com. Want to learn how to cook healthy, exercise, and meditate in just 30 minutes a day? Bellison.com. Want to feel healthy, energetic, and focused like me? Bellison.com. To receive a 10% discount at checkout, visit Bellison.com with the coupon code THE4POS. Visit Bellison.com now. That's BELISAN.com. Compassion and quality without compromise. Bellison.com. And we're back with Dan Moyle. Dan's the CMO of Interview Valet. Now we get into the part of the show I like to call Quick Success, where you, Dan, can inspire the successors to enhance their lives in the areas of knowledge, health, wealth, and spirituality. Dan, what are you currently doing to enhance your knowledge?
Enhancing my knowledge comes down to listening to a lot of podcasts and trying to read more books.
What are you currently doing to enhance your health?
My wife and I recently started doing a Couch to 5K program. And so we're about maybe 5 weeks or so into it. And it's very, very hard, but we're doing it.
Couch to 5K. That's an interesting name.
Yeah. Running. So it's running. And I don't like it.
There's a lot of people that say running is the hardest, but the simplest thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you currently doing to enhance your wealth?
Enhance my wealth. I wrote a book. I'm trying to get myself a little bit known out there as a marketing thought leader. Obviously working with Tom as a CMO, it was a step up for me, but increasing my wealth definitely comes down to trying to help others be more successful, and it'll be more successful for me as I move forward.
What are you currently doing to enhance your spirituality?
Trying to go to church as often as possible and meet with men who have the same belief system and sharpen me as iron sharpen iron. So one person sharpens another. It's definitely one of my mottos. So enhance my spirituality by surrounding myself with other spiritual folks who believe the same thing I do.
I love that. One iron sharpens another. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any modern technologies or apps that help you achieve success?
I love the modern technology of the cell phone. I'm addicted to it, as some people might say. No, I think being able to be on the go is a huge part of our success, for me anyway, a huge part of my success. Being able to be accessible to my email when I want to be, the social media connections, the calls or texting or whatever it is, and then using tools like productivity tools to keep things in check and scheduled is a huge thing for me.
What new thing, book, activity, technology, or skill are you really excited to learn and dive into?
I'm really excited to dive into a new book called The 12-Week Year. And I've started to read it, but I really want to dive into it and change my thinking on how goals are set and how success is measured, and how I, instead of using feeling, I don't feel like it, I look at goals and make them happen. So I'm excited about that new book.
As far as helping our listeners achieve success in whatever it is that they're doing, what piece of advice can you give them?
My advice to any of your successors listening, I would say to set your goals, to not worry about how it feels each day, but just look at them as your leading indicators of, if I want to, be healthier and lose weight, or I want to be wealthier and make more money, I have to do these things every day, and every day matters. And if I miss someone one day, I have tomorrow to start over again. So setting those goals and being realistic about it and not worrying about how you feel is a big one.
Oh, I like that. Very good. Successors, Dan has a special exclusive offer for you. Dan, what is that?
We talked earlier about my book, How I Turned Journalism into Inbound Marketing. And I think for any entrepreneur or business person, finding the right marketing person is key. And so rather than just saying, hey, go buy my book, I took an excerpt out of that book, the chapter on finding this kind of new marketing person. It's great for, like I said, for owners, for entrepreneurs, hopefully inspirational too for journalists, maybe looking for a new career. And you can download that excerpt at interviewvalet.com/principles for all your successors.
All right, you guys heard that? That's interviewvalet.com/principles to get that free chapter of Dan's book, How I Turned Journalism into an Inbound Marketing Career. Oh, the other thing, Dan, I wanted to ask you, where do people find that State of the Podcast Industry Report?
Interviewvalet.com/ SOPI, State of Podcast Interviews. It's the acronym for that. So, yeah.
All right, great. All right, Dan, how can our listeners connect with you?
On that page that I set up for the successors, they can find me on Facebook there, on Twitter. They can email me from there. It's everything's right there for them. So it's all in one spot. So interviewvalet.com/principles.
Finally, Dan, what's your definition of success?
My definition of success is that I'm able to look into the eyes of my wife, my daughters, my parents, and say, I did well, and they agree with me.
Successors, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Dan Moyle. Please check out more successful free content like this at the4pos.com, as well as rate and review. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because that's the most important part of this. Do that wherever you find your podcast. Thanks for listening, and prepare for success. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
If you want to do more, earn more, be more, and stay more motivated, visit Amazon.com right now for a copy of Indulge Your Affirmative Motivation Within, 25 Motivations of Personal Development and Life Success. Get it now at Amazon.com.